Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Two Psychics. This is Michael Edley, evidential medium and mystic, discussing all things spiritual.
Hello, I'm Mary Amy of Two Psychics, an intuitive wisdom coach, tapping into your mystical life and sharing messages I receive about you. Michael? Hello, this is Mary. Is Michael there? Hello? That's weird. Hi, here we are. Hello? Hi, well, anyway, here we are, Two Psychics, episode 18, and it's all about energy healing, and we have a guest today, Alexandre LeClere. Today is May 30th, and it's 2024. I don't know where my co-host is. I can't hear him. I wonder if he can hear me. Why is he not on? Michael, you there? Can't hear him. Weird. Ooh. Michael, you there? Okay, well, I don't know if anyone can hear me out there. This is Mary Amy, and I am an intuitive wisdom coach. And tonight we're going to speak all about healing, and we're going to welcome guest Alexandre LeClere, who's the author of Healing Wisdom from the Afterlife. And she is an energy healer and a medium. And I'm also going to demonstrate a healing visualization. We're going to have some callers. We're going to try this again and try to pull Michael from another line. Oh, he disappeared. I just don't know where Michael is right now. Oh, there he is. Mike, you there? Hello?
Hey, are you there?
I am here.
I don't know what's going on with my microphone or my computer or the link. I'm not really sure, but some craziness. Am I on live with you guys?
You are live, and I didn't know if I was because my microphone wasn't working. It was saying zero sound. So here we are, and everyone out there, this is what happens when there's two psychics.
Question.
What?
Are you able to turn your speakers off, or I'm going to be bouncing all over the place and it's just going to be echoing?
What do you mean, what speakers?
I'm hearing like a crazy, crazy echo.
Oh, I'm not hearing any echo. Okay, wait, hold on. You know what? Just give me 1 second. Let me just check what I have, if I have anything open here. I don't have anything open.
Okay. So maybe I'm just echoing on my end, and I think that might be the case because I'm not really sure what's going on. But it's two psychics, and we have three.
Hear anything.
Stuff going on again.
Yeah,
so
I don't hear anything.
I guess I will do my episode. If I don't sound like I normally do, I'm calling in from my phone. So
well,
it
no,
is
I
what
have
it is.
to tell you, it's better than last time where all there was this vibration and this noise. There's nothing now. It's fine.
I guess it's the chaos culmination of a crazy day. You know, I had so to backtrack. I started the day having to take my dog to the vet, so I had a nice vet visit with my dog. But he did get his nails trimmed and his stitches are removed, and he is good. So that's a plus.
Thank you.
Right
That's great to hear.
What's that?
That's great to hear. I'm so glad.
That is awesome. But so right before I got on live with us tonight, I was chasing an injured squirrel around my yard, which I rescued and is now in a cage with some food and water, and hopefully we can rehab him, you know, the animal lovers that we are, and caring for, you know, for humanity. So, and now I'm not really sure what's going on with my microphone and my computer equipment and all that good stuff. I don't know if it's part of the link, or I might, as I'm going through the radio show tonight, and as you're doing some stuff, I might try to log back on with my regular microphone. But if not, I guess I can just do it from my telephone. And
yeah, you sound actually great. I mean, like, let's recap here for all the listeners who already know this. There's some static. Did you just try to stick your microphone in? Because then we got static.
No.
Oh. All right, well, everybody out there who's been listening to us, hello, listeners. We are coming live from the East Coast, and this is Mary Amy from New York and Michael Edley from New Jersey, and here we go with the static. We had static last week, and then the week before that we tried to do a rumble, so everyone who is listening, I really appreciate it. Wow, that's
sounds like
so
you're running
loud.
a vacuum cleaner in the background. I don't know what that is.
Okay. Well, you know, if anyone was present this past Monday, Michael and I met down in Farmingdale, New Jersey, and we went to the Touch Mother Earth Festival, and Michael had done some, was it readings, Michael, on Friday night?
Yeah, so Friday night I kicked it off with a chakra meditation. It was basically a chakra tuning and grounding meditation to kind of open and harness the chakra system. So it went really well, and I ended up with some readings at the end of the night, which was good. You know, it ended up being a nice way to kick the weekend off and that festival off.
Well, anyway, we met up on Monday, and we did a live Rumble. If you want to go to my Rumble channel, which is Mary Amy Official, and we did a live, and it was so much fun. I had a great time. It was one of those festivals that there's a drumming ceremony, and there's people just having a joyful time, and you can buy beads, and all kinds of vendors were there, and we kind of got rained out. However, it was great. I had a grand time. I loved it, and we got to do a reading, and we had a wonderful young woman, and I'm trying to remember her name, Michael. What was her name? Was it Erica? No. Cheryl? Was it Cheryl?
Unfortunately, I've talked to quite a few people over the last 5 weeks.
Okay. Well, anyway,
I mean, literally, it's been a lot. I've been doing some live shows and a lot of private readings. I couldn't tell you, unfortunately.
Okay. Well, you read her, and I'm not telling a secret because it's a public show, but she spoke
we
about...
videoed it, and it was awesome.
Yeah, we videotaped it. You can watch us on Rumble. Also, you can see videos from our Two Psychics Radio Facebook page, because we had Marcel Garcia, and she did these little videos of us. And we got to see ourselves, and this young woman had wanted to connect to her birth parents, and you brought in a lot of her biological family, didn't you, during your reading?
Yeah, it was good. I do remember bits and pieces of the reading, and yeah, there was a lot of validation and a lot of evidence, and the really cool thing with that is we were also able to bring through a lot of validation and evidence for her boyfriend that was with her too, and he was just like an innocent bystander filming it. And you never know when spirit comes in and they have to get a message through, they'll utilize whatever sources they have, and it was kind of cool to bring a reading in for both of them that had a lot of evidence, and they validated all the information, which was really, really cool. And you know what was really interesting, what I found, is we had other influencers like checking us out and filming us and doing that. So it was really cool, kind of, even though we had a rainstorm come through right before we were going to do this gallery, it ended up having a little bit of a twist, but it was really, really cool. We were able to give great readings, great insight to this couple. We were able to broadcast a lot of it, and it was just, overall, I thought it ended up being really, really cool. It's a great space. So I think in the future, it would be really awesome for us to be able to do like a large gallery, and hopefully we get quite a few people coming out to it. But yeah, I had a great time doing it.
And she asked about past lives, and since I've been working with you and we've been doing this show, I just receive information instantly where I'm not really trying to look for it. It just comes to me, which is kind of bizarre. And I wasn't accepting it. And I even spoke about it and said, you really have to accept whatever gifts you receive because you don't have a choice. And the more that you accept, then the more likely you will receive information through your clairsenses. And it was just so much fun, and I'm so grateful you invited me, and I hope we do more of those events together. And I'll travel all over the country. I'll do whatever, wherever it happens to be, I will go to. So tonight, Michael.
And we're out the wheels, get that tour bus going from coast to coast. That's why everyone out there has to like and share Two Psychics, get our social media, share our blog page, all this good stuff that you're hearing right now. Share it, and then maybe you'll be able to come to your area live and do a live Two Psychics.
Yes, please share. In fact, our Facebook page, we're up to 40 followers. We were stuck at 18 for a while, and now we're up to 40 or 41, and I'm grateful for anyone who's actually following us on our Facebook page and also on this Blog Talk Radio. We can be heard on iTunes and Spotify. So moving forward, tonight we have a guest. I believe she's going to come on at about 8 o'clock. So before 8 o'clock, I can explain what energy healing is. And if we have time, we can take a caller. It's up to Michael how he feels about that. And I just wanted to explain and get into, we have some upcoming guests. Can I mention that now, Michael?
Yeah. Go ahead if you want to give all the announcements and go over all
Sure. So we have upcoming. Now, tonight, it's pretty exciting. I had gone to the book signing for this book, and it's called Healing Wisdom from the Afterlife, How to Communicate with the Spirit World. And our guest tonight is Alexandre LeClere. And she is a energy healer, a medium, and she is also an author. And I would like to hear all about, from her words, some of the information from her book. I find it fascinating. I've read bits and pieces. I didn't have time to read the whole entire book. So that's tonight. And she's probably going to be on live at 8 o'clock, which is in about less than 20 minutes. Now, coming up next week, we have, on June 6th, we have Robin Jelnick, and she is Athena in Truth. She's a collective consciousness. She is a channeler. Now, anyone out there who doesn't, not familiar with that, what that means is a channeler, she's channeling from another realm, and she channels this consciousness that actually takes over her body. And it's positive, and it's full of wisdom, and it's going to be fascinating. I did an interview with her, and you can find it on my website, MaryAmyOfficial.com, which is finally up, MaryAmyOfficial.com. And we won't see it because we're going to be just talking to her, but you will hear her speech patterns change, her voice change, because this collective is taking her over. So that's June 6th. Thursday, June 6th at 7:30, and then the following week, June 13th, exciting, we have Laura Stenchfeld, and she is a pet psychic. And that's going to be a Thursday night at 7:30 as well, which is very exciting. I know, Mike is very familiar with the pet industry, so he's going to, and him as well as I am very much about animals. And you mentioned the squirrel, and I actually had studied to be a rehabber, so I was a rehabber for animals going back in 2009. So I'm familiar with squirrels and birds and raccoons and deers and all of that.
Yeah, and anyone that doesn't know my background for many, what seems like a lifetime, I was involved in the pet industry, had licensed rescue and shelters, had retail stores, a whole big thing. So it was pretty involved, and we know squirrels really, really well, and wildlife, and We worked with a lot of rehabbers, facilitating that when I had a licensed rescue and shelter, and we would do a lot of different exotic animals and all kinds of crazy things. Lizards, fish, bunnies, ferrets, all kinds of crazy stuff. So it was interesting. It brought back a little bit of that, that animal husbandry to me. And I saw it. The funny thing was, just the natural tendencies of wildlife, especially around here. Squirrels act a certain way, birds act a certain way. So when something's totally off, you have to kind of check it out, especially with me having dogs, and dogs are in the yard. They're in my yard. I got to make sure that I don't have a sick animal or a rabid animal or something like that, so you have to be very, very cautious. But I knew as soon as I saw this squirrel, and it looked like either a hawk tried to eat it or, or something, or a cat. I'm not sure. Something definitely injured it and injured one of its eyes and everything. But, I gave him a piece of apple, and he started eating the apple and looked a little happier. And I was like, oh, no. And I saw he couldn't get back up into the tree. And I was like, all right. So we had one of those large critter cage, and we got him in there, and he's eating and drinking. And I guess he's going to be rehabbing a squirrel, or maybe get a squirrel to a rehabber, or going to be doing something like that as soon as I know he's okay or see how he is.
Can you speak up a little bit, Michael, because I can't hardly hear you.
Oh, you can't hear me?
No, it sounded like you were going down a river.
Oh, down a river. Okay, well, I was going down catching a squirrel river, and I saved the squirrel.
Oh, my goodness. Okay,
my phone, yeah, I have, like, wacky electronic stuff going on tonight. I guess it's just the life of a medium, the life of two psychics. I'm not really sure what's going on, so I apologize out there if you can't hear me.
One of our listeners says they hear buzzing, so there's buzzing.
I am not
I don't
sure
know.
about
We're
that.
doing our very best.
I'm not hearing buzzing on my end. I'm just hearing a little bit of an echo. So I think we're just going to have to roll with it for right now. Let me see. I'm gonna also, let's see, try to.
Well, he's gone now, folks. He's off. He's going to call back, I guess. Before he calls back, let me just tell you. So tonight we have Alexandre LeClere, and she's going to be joining us. So I'm going to get into energy healing. What exactly is energy healing? I studied energy healing. I'm a Reiki master. Just about anyone can become an energy healer, and it will help you. It will help to engage with spirituality. Let me get Mike back on before I start speaking again. Nope, he's gone again. Okay, so energy healing. Energy healing, and the reason I'm bringing up energy healing is because our guest is an energy healer. So energy healing is an ancient mind-body healing technique and modality. Chinese medicine, let's see. Who's this? Hello? Mike? You there?
Are you there, Mary Amy?
Yes, I can hear you perfectly. Perfect.
Can you hear me perfectly? All right. It's my phone again, and the computer does not want to let me on, so we're rolling with this for now.
Okay. So I'm just beginning to share because I believe our guest is going to come on at 8. So I'm speaking about energy healing because she is an energy healer, and from what I understand, she heals past lives. So energy healing is an ancient mind-body-spirit healing technique and modality. Chinese medicine, energy medicine, spoke of qi, vital energy. Now, Ayurveda originated from India 3,000 years ago, and I quote, imbalance or stress in a person's consciousness. Prana is known as life force, life breath. Energy healing is considered alternative medicine by channeling energy, healing energy to clear blockages to the client with positive benefits. It helps to reduce pain, anxiety, symptoms, and depression. Energy healing is a belief that our bodies have energy flowing through them and need to be balanced. A practitioner channels healing force, life force energy through their hands as a conduit to client's body to restore balance by touching the body or hovering over the body. There are many types of energy healing: Reiki, acupuncture, and I'm pronouncing words poorly. I apologize. I butcher words. Qigong, sound healing, chakra balance, reflexology, crystal balancing, crystal healing, touch therapy, quantum energy healing. Now, our physical body and life experience exist in our energy field, and imbalances or blocks contribute to emotional issues, physical pain, and limiting life patterns. Now, Reiki was founded by Mikao Su in Japan. A Reiki practitioner is a conduit for universal life force energy to encourage the healing process. Acupressure is to stimulate acupoints. Qi moves energy freely. Acupuncture inserts needling to body points to create balance and healing. Now, the benefits of energy healing is balancing chakras and helps with depression, fear, blood pressure issues, stress, anxiety, pain, fatigue, and sleep issues. Okay, so now here we are, and I'm just wondering, because Michael vanished again. He's just playing. What is he, a Harry Houdini tonight? Okay, well, I know that he will come back. He's trying through his phone, and anyone who's listening, we know he is very, very resourceful. He will figure it out. And I'll just give you a little bit of info before we receive Alexandre LeClere and as our guest this evening. I'm just sending, where are you? To Michael. So Alexandre LeClere's book, it says on the back on her bio, is a clairvoyant, clairaudient, and clairsestinent medium and energy healer with more than 20 years of professional experience. She is the author of Seeing the Dead, Talking with Spirits, and also facilitates sweat lodge ceremonies. She lives in New Rochelle, New York. Now, I have visited the facility that she works out of in New Rochelle, New York, and she does a pipe smoking ceremony. I believe it's weekly on Saturdays. You can attend, and she takes on clients, and she's very, very familiar with the clair, I guess, the spirit world, all about clairsenses, and she will walk you through. She's very, very practical. This book that I have before me is very eloquently written, and I'm going to be very excited to speak with her when she does come on. And I'm going to just right now see if I can reach out to Michael, and maybe he can call in from another number. So, Michael, why don't you call in from 515-605-9866. I'm going to send this to you right now because I want you on board when we have this interview this evening. Okay, how about if I just pull on I was going to pull on someone, but we need Michael to hear them. This is just a very interesting evening, isn't it? It's very tumultuous. I don't know what's going to happen. And anyone out there, please hold on. Maybe I try calling him again. Let's see. I don't know how to get him on the phone. I'm going to try calling him and see. Call me like a caller. How do I call him like a caller? I don't know how to call him like a caller. I don't know how to do that. Okay, call. Let's try. Okay, we'll call him. We're going to call Michael right now. This is so funny. Okay. 48. Okay. 1-848-333-6149. If anything can go wrong, it's going wrong this evening. Okay. We're calling.
Wow, there's some really weird stuff going on. Can you hear me? Am I on?
I can. What happened? You got dropped on your own? They're not? It's
No,
like
I was on, and all of a sudden you just couldn't hear me talking anymore. All of a sudden it just put me into, I don't know, la la land. Like I could hear you, I could hear the show, I could hear you trying to.
We've heard you.
It was like I was in another world. I was in an altered reality. I could hear everyone.
My goodness.
I wonder, what's funny is I wonder if that's what the spirit realm feels like when people aren't tapping into their intuitive guidance and their mediumship abilities and connecting, we're there and we can hear everything, but can't communicate, can't hear me. That was really weird. So I'm not sure what happened.
Well, you know what's so interesting?
Am I there?
I have to tell you. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, I
Hello?
can.
Oh, okay. You scared me.
Hello?
What? Are you kidding? Are you teasing me now?
I'm here.
Oh, okay. No, but I have to tell you what's so interesting is that when you do any kind of production, and you know this because you're a musician as well, you do anything, if it's radio or television, and things go wrong. People don't show up. Equipment doesn't work. You just don't know, and you have to just roll with it. I wasn't giving up. I'm so glad you're here. Are you gone now again?
No, I'm here. I'm just quiet, letting you speak.
Oh my goodness!
I don't know what happened with my computer. Like my whole computer crapped out. Like it's very crazy. I don't know. I'm not really sure though why. The equipment I use day in, day out, I use all the time. So like today, just all of a sudden, just doesn't want to work. It's very bizarre. I don't know. We're just gonna throw it up to the universe, saying you're gonna do it from your phone.
It sounds like you're on your regular equipment. It sounds like you're on your regular equipment.
I'm in my normal studio, on my normal microphone, my normal headphones, and it doesn't want to do anything. So that's fine. We can do it this way, and I have an iPhone that I can hear you well as long as you can hear me. We're good.
I totally can hear you. I'm just checking to make sure that yes, I look forward to it. So as of right now, she should be joining us. Now, did you want to say anything? Because I'm assuming that in another few minutes I'm going to hear from her. I don't have her phone number. Let's see. I'm looking to see. 8:15. Okay, so I said 8:15. So we really, here it says 8 o'clock. I wasn't very clear.
Time is just a figment of our imagination. Let's see.
Because if she's not coming on till 8:15, then we're going to grab someone because we have people holding.
Okay, as long as you can hear me and I can hear them, we can do that.
Yeah.
We're good.
I'm going to give it because right now you would have thought that she would have come on. I don't have a phone number here it doesn't say her name, so I'm wondering if she Okay, so let's just grab someone because I don't see her yet, and
grab a caller
for a very
and
long
we'll roll
time.
with doing a reading, and then
so we're gonna grab someone. I don't know who
Alexandre
this is.
There.
Ready?
So let's do it.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Hi, who's this? Who's calling? It's Mary and Michael.
Hi, Mary and Michael. It's Keita. How you doing?
Hi, Keita. Thank you so much for hanging on. It's been very bizarro. Have you been listening to this whole thing?
I have.
Electronic stuff does not want to be friendly with us tonight. That's okay, though. It is okay. That is all right. We will find a way, right? We persevere. So is it, you said it's Tita? Is that Titta? What, can you spell that for me?
Keda.
Okay, because unfortunately I am on my phone and I don't have my good headphones and I can't hear that well. So do this for us. If you can just say your name slowly for us one time, and then let us connect on an energy level.
Okay, Keda.
All right, Keda. And what question did you have for us tonight?
I just wanted to know if there were any messages from Spirit.
All right, so let's see. Let me see. Let me open up and let me see if anything comes through, anyone or any information. Give me one moment, Kita. Give me your name one more time, Kita. Just say that slow for me. Let me connect to your energy there.
Sure. Kita.
All right. Initially, so as we connect and as your energy opens up, not sure what the T is. If this is a Tammy, a Tommy, I'm seeing the T as some kind of significant initial around you. But the weird thing is, I'm also being drawn to, I don't know if this is Tennessee or Texas, but I also feel like I'm drawn down south to a state at the same time I'm getting this. This is weird. So I feel like I'm in two places with you. I feel like I might be getting a piece of information. Can you take a significance to the T of a name of someone around you? It doesn't necessarily have to be someone in spirit or a place.
So it's a place, and it would be a relative with the T, or it's just a friend of the family, and then it would be Texas.
Okay,
yeah.
So it is Texas. Okay, because I was feeling that Texas or the Tennessee, the TE I was getting with that. But there's also a T name connected with that. Is that correct? Or no, we're just going with the T for Texas. I know I'm going to a place, and so prominently. So let me feel the energy around this a little bit too. Okay, so there is what's interesting. So when I connect with Texas, so we all definitely get it. I'm being drawn to Texas. I feel like they're giving me Texas. It's your collective as something significant that you're either going to be navigating, moving to. So there's obviously some kind of transition around that or some significance around that. But there's older male energy, and what's weird is around this, I don't know why I'm being connected to. I don't know if I have Cuban. Is there Cuban ties in your family on the male side of your family? Well, it doesn't have to necessarily be the male side, but I'm getting a lot of dominant, and I'm getting like Cuba. I feel like I'm being drawn to Cuba. Can you take any of that?
Okay, so I have a family friend who is Cuban. He's an older gentleman who's Cuban, but he's not connected to Texas. I also have all of my grandfather, my maternal grandfather, all of his family, everybody is in Texas. They're all from Texas.
Okay, so that's definitely so that's what we have. We definitely, and Grandpa, you're talking about this is your dad's dad, correct?
No, this is my mother's dad.
This is your mom's side? Okay, so there's older male. Okay, so let me just get the energy situated here. Okay, so they're pulling me to Texas. So I definitely have Texas. So we'll touch base with Texas. I have the older. So this is definitely older male energy connected to Cuba. Could be connected to mom. So let me ask you this: is dad in spirit also? Why am I getting? I'm getting like father connections. I don't know if this is birth father, and there's also a stepfather, but I feel like I'm connecting to like dad energy also, or someone that was like a dad or had that dad father figure around you.
Okay. So my dad's people, I don't know them. I have some first cousins that I don't know, so my dad could be in spirit, but I don't know them. And I can't get any information on.
Okay.
Nobody will give me. No. This is good. I can't get any information. I have one first cousin who will not give me any information. It's the craziest thing. So it's like I'm blocked. But I do have an older gentleman who is Cuban, who I would regard as like a father figure. But he's
in spirit?
Not that I know of. Thought he was still
Not
here.
that you know of? Okay. Now, there's definitely older, so I feel like I'm connecting to, like, definitely father energy or someone that was like a father. I mean, unfortunately, if you don't know that half of the, that part of the family or that background, it's going to be hard to validate it, but let me just see what information. So what's interesting is there's older male energy that definitely has some type of Cuban connection, definitely around that part of the family, or definitely someone that can oversee and has a sense of your family and the family connections around you, because they're bringing me to, so you have a sister, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Because they're bringing me to your sister. They're bringing me to a connection to your sister. Now, is there a connection with you and your sister to Texas, or give me what's the Texas connection here now?
So my mother's father, my grandmother's husband, my maternal grandmother's husband, my mother's dad, my grandfather, all his family is from Texas. They are from Texas. So my grandfather, I live in New England, and he came in the 60s from the service. Here, he married my grandmother, but all of his family is in Texas. All of his family, his mother, his father's, both sides of their family, everyone is in Texas. Everyone is in Texas, and I actually just came from Texas earlier this year because I was trying to decide if I wanted to move there or not.
Okay, so we'll appreciate the confirmations and the validations. That's awesome. So Texas, obviously you're collective. Without me knowing anything, I knew I was being pulled to that south, and it wasn't Tennessee or Texas. Both are actually good energy for you if you were looking for areas. But yeah, Texas came to me initially, that TE, but I also sense a lot of positive energy for you in Tennessee. So I don't know if there's connections there or you ever thought about that space, but that in your energy field, it resonates very well with me. So, but Texas, lots of positive energy there. So obviously that's why that came through. The older male energy and Cuban connected energy. So there's a lot of family, and obviously you don't know like birth dad and a lot of that aspect of the family. I definitely sense that he's in spirit and he's connecting to you, and because that's who was talking about your sister. Now, is this the same birth father as your sister that we're talking about? They just gave me your sister and talking about that connection with her in Texas?
No, I'm the love child. So
okay.
Brother, they have the same.
So I'm just trying to put this together of who's talking. Okay, so then they're just talking about your collective is then definitely giving me just significance of the connection of your sister. Obviously I didn't know you had a sister. They're telling me, hey, talk to her about the sister. Acknowledge the sister connection to Texas. So that's positive. That's good. So I would say if you are considering moving or transition or anything like that, that's definitely like there's good energy around that. There's definitely male energy around you that's like supporting you, guiding you, that definitely is trying to like connect or reconnect. So I would definitely say, see, it's tough if you don't know your birth father on that end of it, but you might want to do a little research, and you might want to maybe like some ancestry or some different things that you can maybe try to find from a little lineage, because I feel you do have a father energy around you.
Here's what I will say about the father. Here's what I will say about the father's piece. What I do know about my father's family is that they're from Florida, like all of them.
Okay.
Right, that's where they're. But I have this one cousin who I found on Ancestry, but for whatever reason, and he's a first cousin, so that means he would be my father's nephew. He won't give me any information. It's the craziest thing. I can't get any information. He won't give me anything.
Okay. Well, I mean, I would just say stay open to it. See what you can manifest around that. The interesting thing also for you, so I'm also being pulled to the JU, so either end of June, early July. So there's some significance to the June going into July for you. So I'm not sure what kind of transition, if you're going on vacation, a trip, a significant date. But why they're bringing me like your collective, as I'm connected to your energy, they're bringing me to like that late June, early July as a significant point in time. Can you take that? Is there an anniversary, a birth date, someone's passing? Are we dealing with an anniversary?
Here's the thing. So my mom passed in July of '99, and my grandfather, her dad, passed in June.
Okay. So that's
And
July.
then my
So that's why they're
grandmother's
bringing me to the
birthday is
July
also
significance.
in.
So just know and understand. I mean, I apologize. My energy is a little chaotic tonight. So,
It's okay.
So it's just like I'm kind of all over. And I'm pulling from your collective, but they are giving me July as significant. So I would definitely say, like, Mom, Grandma, the energies that are connected to that July as a significant date, just know they're giving me that date because they're around you. They want to honor, that connection that day. So I would definitely say I feel like you're pretty connected. I feel like you're pretty intuitive and you are communicating. Like the general sense I get with this is maybe you don't feel like you're hearing them like you should, but I feel like you could be kind of overthinking things and not being very present because you're kind of caught up in that analytical mind. So I would say be very present and look for the synchronicities, look for the numbers, and it doesn't just have to be the 1111, the 222. Look for the bookends, or just look if you've tried to connect with them and you're like, hey, give me a sign, or how do you feel about this? Are you, guiding me in this? Look for the synchronicities, or even just try to sit quietly and see if you get a thought or a vision or an image into your mind's eye, into that third eye. And I think they're communicating with you. And from this and from me, kind of my energy being a little chaotic, I'm still pulling through some pretty good information here, and we're getting pretty good dates that July being significant, pulling us to Texas, the confirmation for your sister. I definitely think for you, if there's any question of whether you're not connecting or connecting to them, it's just a matter of you quieting down a little more than you are and kind of let that unfold. But without further ado, let me see. Mary Amy, are you with us still?
Hi. How are you?
What is going on? So what are you getting?
Okay, so what I received was I saw a winding road. Then I saw one of those wooden bridges that you would see out in the nature, and then it connected to continued on a winding road, which is, I sense, is a transition, but a connection. So there was a transition going on, and there's a connection. So this is what came to me. This is what downloaded to me. Friendship is of the utmost importance. Number one, you traveled recently, or you're traveling recently, going to be traveling to another country from representing of your family of origin. You have an understanding that no one really sees a side of you from your past. You have created a new version of you. You believe in the impossible. You have a vibrant personality. You're sassy, fun. You are a stylish person with joy and laughter in your heart. You have not reached your fullest potential. You're capable of so much more. And at this time, no one sees the real you unless you let them. There was trouble in the past, but now you're steady no longer. You have a very strong life force energy, and it's powerful. And then I saw you with a breeze brushing around your face, kind of almost in like a circular motion. And it is I sense it means that there's some kind of alternative to a course of events going on in your life. That's what I received. You there?
Thank you. Yeah, I'm still here. Thank you.
Good.
I'm just trying to embrace it all.
Not that we want to overwhelm you with all this information.
So that's what I received. Tell me.
No. I was saying that was great. I'm just quiet because I'm just trying to absorb it all. So forgive me. I'm not.
And you can go back and re-listen to all of it. That's the beautiful thing. You can go back and re-listen to everything we have there.
Again,
no, I think
what I just said.
I
think you're very connected. I think you should definitely tap into this and definitely utilize your intuitive abilities if you haven't been.
Can I just say, when I went to Texas, my granddad was with me. I didn't see him, but there were a lot of synchronicities that were happening that let me know I'm here. Like I went to his name is Oscar, and I went to the first day that I was there. I went to this juice bar, and I bought a whole bunch of juices. And the guy says, "Do you need help walking me to your car?" And I said, "No." And he said, "No, let me get my employee." And he was like, "Oscar, can you help her?" And then in my Airbnb, yeah, and it was just weird. And then on my Airbnb, I turned on Netflix, and you know, with Netflix, you have different profiles. And one of the profiles was, the name of the profile said Grandpa, and it was a picture of Will Smith, in which would
so you're tuned in. Like, see, you're tuned in.
Yeah. And then I
see, now it's just a matter of.
Go ahead.
No, I'm saying now it's just a matter of paying attention and just start to see what your strongest clair is and how they're, if you're starting to see a lot more. Like once you get those signs and once you get that confirmation, then try to open up that communication. Hey, how are you going to communicate to me? And start to see, are you hearing it? Are you seeing it? And just start to sense like where and how they're utilizing your natural senses, and then start building upon that. But that's an awesome confirmation and validation, I think, for you that you're very, very connected to that. Absolutely.
So do you think that you being able to pull up Texas was a confirmation that I'm headed that way, or was it just confirmation,
I think so. So I just think for you, I just think it was validation right now. See, the interesting thing is I wasn't getting Texas as I was getting positive energy around it, like you were just there, and I think they just wanted to give you validation and evidence that they're around you. I think more so with your reading, if I had to kind of narrow it down, I would say it was just validating and giving you information, and just acknowledging that their presence is around you.
Perfect.
Thank you so much for calling. We
you.
have to bring on our guest. She's been waiting. She actually had the similar things, Michael, where she got dropped a few times. Thank you for calling, and we hope that we helped you or we gave you some kind of insight. And thank you for listening. And I hope you follow us on Blog Talk Radio and our Facebook page. We also have new merchandise and the website for that.
Thank you so much.
And you be well, okay?
You as well. Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you, Keita.
Michael, you there?
I am here. I am here.
Okay, so Alexandra, let's bring her on. She's been holding and holding and
Absolutely.
holding. So we're just going to bring her on.
Hello.
Hi. It's Mary and Michael.
Hi.
How are you?
Oh, I'm so good. It's so nice to hear your voice. It's so exciting to be on your show. Thank you.
Hello, Alexandra. How are you? With
good.
being a medium and an energy healer, energy can get a little wacky when psychics and mediums and healers all come together, and I think that may be what we're experiencing tonight. So it's the collective energy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You gotta love it, right?
Yes,
absolutely.
We do. And
that's fantastic. We are so thrilled that you're here tonight with us.
Yes, and I don't know if you heard the very intro, and I spoke about, because we had trouble in the beginning, but I spoke about your book, and I went to the book signing, and Alexandre LeClere has written this book, Healing Wisdom from the Afterlife, How to Communicate with the Spirit World, and I spoke about your bio that's on your book, and I have read portions of your book, your last book. You're the author of Seeing the Dead and Talking with Spirits. And I want to start out by saying thank you. I'm very appreciative that you joined us this evening in this very strange circumstance. And I have met you in person, and you're a wonderful spirit and being. And I want to start out by saying that you took me by storm with the intro of your book, speaking about your near-death experience and meeting a palm, someone who's into palmetry. Is it palmetry? Palm reading?
Palm reading, yes. Reading palms, right. It's yes, it was really quite incredible. When I was a student in Paris, I met another student who was in the master's program with me, and we were study friends. And so we at a study break one time, he said, "Well, I'll read your palm." And I thought, well, sure, why not? I didn't believe he really could. So anyway, he read my palm, and he said, well, you had an accident where you almost died. And I said, what? And he said, yes, here, I see it. It was when you were about 12 years old. I said, no. Of course I'd remember if I had an accident where I almost died, And anyway, he said, oh, well, okay. And but was very certain about it. And then to kind of soften it all, he said, do you want to know who you're going to marry? And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I'm not sure I wanted to hear it from him because he already told me this terrible thing about how I almost died when I was 12. And so he described a man who was very international and would be very well known. And actually, that came true. I later on met a Frenchman. His name is Georges LeClere, and he was a TV anchor in France, and then ended up working in the United States and internationally and the United Nations and everything. So my friend had gotten that right. And he also got it right that I had that accident when I was 12. It took, here I was in Paris, right? And I was, and a student, all that. And it took a couple of weeks before all of a sudden the memories of that absolutely horrendous accident started to come back to me. And this is very typical for people who have had traumatic events in their lives, that we have a tendency to just kind of bury it because it's just too much to deal with. And the circumstances of when I had that accident were such that it was, I was sort of aided by the people around me to just forget about it. That basically, my parents and I were driving back from Florida to Ohio, where I grew up and where we were living. And in Kentucky, we drove off a cliff, 135 feet. Car went down and around, and it was really a miracle because we both, my parents and I, were able to get out of the car eventually. I first had to scramble up the side of the cliff and hail down a car. Then we were very lucky for that. It happened to be an emergency aid person, and who hailed down some other cars. And the only real significant injuries we had was my father, who had cut his forehead on the rearview mirror. And my mother and I had just bruised bodies, and the car was totaled, and we found out that the week before, a whole family had gone off the same cliff and had died, all of them. Anyway, we drove, we couldn't drive home, but we took a bus home, which was a very unpleasant experience, especially for me. And if you want to hear more about that, you can read my book. And then when we did get back home, my father at that point was working in Alabama and on location there. And so my mother, didn't want to talk about this at all, this accident. I have two older brothers, and they weren't part of it. They weren't there. And we had to buy a new car. And so everybody was focused on the new car, and not a word was said about the accident. So that's basically the way we end up having these traumatic events that show up later on in life. So my friend, the palm reader, had been right. And that really got me started on thinking about how he could read something like that had happened in my past. And I became interested in knowing about, well, how can we tell what's going on in the past? How can we tell what's going on in the future? And it wasn't until a few years later that I became aware of my own abilities. And so now what I try to do, and I've been doing this for like over 20 years now, is help people to find out their own abilities, because I think everybody has the ability to communicate with spirits. They're all around us. They're wonderful. They're here to help us. And we all have that ability to communicate with them. And I do workshops all around the world teaching people how to identify when they are communicating with spirits. There are many ways to do this. You can communicate with spirits. You can see them, as I do, but that's a little bit harder to do, and people are usually a little bit afraid about that. You can hear them, which I can also, but they're also, sometimes people think, oh, if you hear, voices or something, that means, you're either crazy or you're, they tell you bad things to do. Well, that's not true. You can hear spirits talking to you and bringing you really good, helpful information. And also to hear from loved ones who have passed, who love to talk to us and let us know that they're okay and they're not too far away and trying to help us. Then we also can feel when there are spirits around, warmth or cold, or one of my clients actually can tell when her father's around, who is deceased, because she can smell his. So that's another way that we can communicate with spirits, or they can communicate with us. I mean, it's easier for them to understand us because they are able, just like we're able to talk to each other, they're able to hear and see us. We kind of deny ourselves the ability to communicate with them. And then when we start to open up to that, then we have this communication, which is really very beautiful, very, very beautiful. So I highly encourage everybody to learn about these different ways that you are communicating with spirits. And I think the way that is most often experienced by people, that they don't realize that they're actually communicating with spirits, is when someone might lose a loved one, and then they continue having conversations with the loved one who passed, but they think, the person who is alive thinks, well, I'm just making up what my mother or brother or aunt or whoever it was who passed, I'm just making up what they would say to me. That's not true. It is them communicating with you, and that's the way that they can communicate, is wordlessly, but you have the thoughts, just simply through thoughts. So that knowledge has brought so much relief to so many people who are really feeling so distressed about having lost a loved one who actually isn't that far away at all.
Alexandra, when I met you at the book signing for this book, Healing Wisdom from the Afterlife, which anyone can go online, they can find it on many different avenues, many sites. I was taken by this story, and you spoke about using your energy healing and your work to help clients with their past lives.
Yes, I'm very interested in that. What I've been doing more recently, for quite a while actually, is taking people to their past life, which is the most significant for their current incarnation. And it explains a lot of interesting things. For example, a man for whom I was doing this took him. I just listened to what I asked them questions, and then the person who is I'm taking to this past life tells me what they experienced. Well, he told me that he was a Native American, and the location, and in his story, he said that he started to work at a farm where there was a woman with wearing purple ribbons, and she had a husband and some children, and that as a young Native American, he went to work for her. He said this was in the 1800s, and that she eventually seduced him and then had an affair with him. Her husband left her, and then my client started drinking and became an alcoholic, and he couldn't go back to his tribe. They wouldn't have anything to do with him, and so finally the woman threw him out also, and he died. So in this current incarnation, he identified ex-wife as the woman with the purple ribbons. And in his current life, he was able to divorce her and leave her and not get caught up in this web. He also became an alcoholic in this current life. However, he was able to get sober. So it was quite interesting to see how these couple of major events from his past life were played out in a better way in this life. So I think it's helpful to understand why we're put in different situations in this life. I mean, I like to say that an incarnation is kind of like being a ball in a pinball machine, where we're launched into life, and then all of a sudden we're celebrated, ding, 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 everything's wonderful, and then we're sent to a different direction, and we start falling, and it's not working out, and then all of a sudden, ding, 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 everything is wonderful again, and back and forth, yes and no, up and down, and then boop, game over. It was kind of like, whoa, what's going on here? In my book, I help people to understand the whole process of birth and life and death, and then review time, and then planning the next incarnation, and to see how this is really quite a lovely process, where there are certain things that are written, they're going to happen no matter what, but we also have a lot of free will in between these things that are definitely going to happen, good and bad. We all experience things like that. But I think it's helpful that even if something that doesn't feel so cheery is going on, it's all to learn a lesson, because we're all learning lessons, and that's why we incarnate, and so it's all a very beautiful experience.
Yeah, that's awesome, Alexandre. Now, question for you. We all know that the medium's path isn't always the path that we choose to be on. And a lot of times, I hear, and what I'll tell people, it's like if our soul is calling us to do this certain thing, the soul is going to keep calling us till we get on that path. Did you know right away you were being called to be a medium, and this was going to be your life's work? Or what was the journey? What was the process? Like, how did it unfold for you?
Well, I my first book was Seeing the Dead Talking to Spirits. Seeing the Dead Talking to Spirits. And that kind of describes how I came into my gift. I think as a child, I had an imaginary friend, and I think that was a little spirit who was a friend of mine. My mother was worried. She took me to the doctor. Doctor said it's very bad. So I just shut it all down.
But you weren't institutionalized, so that's good.
Well, exactly. And then when I was in my 20s, I did have an astrologer do my chart, and she said, you're psychic, you're a medium. And I was like, oh, sure, whatever. Anyway, it wasn't until a bit later when I had fibroids and I was hemorrhaging very severely. In fact, I went to see a doctor, of course, and I ended up seeing 3 different gynecologists, and each one concurred that I needed a hysterectomy. Well, I didn't want to do that, but on the other hand, one of them said, I put people in the hospital with higher iron levels than you have, and you're going to drop dead in the street. I'll drop dead in the street, have the surgery, But then someone said, why don't you go see a healer I know in Manhattan? I'm located in New York. And I thought, healers in Manhattan? At that time, I had no idea. I thought maybe in exotic places there are healers. And anyway, I went to see a healer in Manhattan, and she facilitated my healing. I never had the surgery. And then because I was a television producer initially, I wanted to do a documentary about healers. And little did I know that the documentary was really just for me to open up to my own gifts. And the first workshop that I went to for veteran healers, at the end of the workshop, where I really didn't understand what was going on with energy and all of that, they did a little ceremony for 3 people who had lost a loved one. And I thought, oh, cool, I'll stay and see what happens here. And there were 2 men, an older man, a younger man, and a woman. And they were sitting in a circle, and there was a lit candle on a 4th chair and the keys of the deceased woman. And all of us who were there walked around one way, the other way. And then the man who organized this said, well, I hope that, I think her name was Eileen, I hope that her spirit is here so she could see how much we cared for her. And at that moment, for some reason, I thought that all healers could also be mediums, that they were mediums, and that they could see her. So I wanted to see her too. I was so fed up at not being able to understand what they were doing all day. I really wanted to see her. And then all of a sudden, 1, 2, 3, she appeared right in front of me. And she was leaning over the woman who was seated there, and she was trying to comfort her. And I was so proud of myself that I blurted out, I know she's here, I can see her. And as it turned out, I had it confirmed that it was the mother of the woman who was there. I hadn't known whose mother it was who'd passed. And everybody was happy about it. And I happened to be the only person who saw her. So I felt good about it, and I went home, and I felt really good. And I told my husband that I saw a ghost tonight, and he was like, okay. And so I felt good about it. Shortly after that, I started to see a Native American standing next to me. Now, that was very unsettling. I thought, boy, I am really going crazy. What is this about? And he's always there. And I thought, oh, boy. Anyway, I grew up in Ohio, and I didn't know of any Indians there, American Indians there. And I didn't have anything to do with American Indians. And I had been living in France and had just recently moved to New York. And where I didn't see any Indians around, Native Americans around either. And I mentioned to my husband that I see this Native American standing next to me all the time. And he said, oh. And I realized, I better not let people know about this. But Spirit always organizes things for us so that when we need a teacher, the teacher appears. So I was interviewing people for this documentary about healers, and the healer I was interviewing said, well, let me just give you a session, show you what it's like. It's like, oh, okay, cool. She said, well, what's going on in your life? I said, well, there's this about my daughter, and then I see this Native American standing next to me all the time, and there's that about my son. And she goes, wait a minute. What's the second thing you said? And I was like, oh, no, she's going to really, call them to take me away now. And I said, well, I see this Native American standing next to me all the time. And she said, yes, I can see him too. I was like, oh, my gosh, I can't believe it. That's wonderful. I'm not crazy. And she said, why don't you ask him his name? Well, I didn't want to ask him his name. I thought, wow, isn't it enough that I can't, stop seeing him? He's there all the time. And she said, go ahead, ask him his name. Ask him his name. So mentally, in my mind, I asked him his name. And what I heard was Tonka. Now, I have two boys, and I thought Tonka was the name of a toy truck manufacturer. I thought, oh, boy, I can't say that. And then this healer said, I know his name starts with a T. I thought, what? And so I said, well, Tatanka. And she said, yes, Tatanka. That means buffalo in Lakota. Who knew? So that's the way I met my spirit guide, Tatanka, who has been with me for a very, very long time. And it was quite wonderful because once he had secured the fact that I knew he was there, he didn't need to show himself to me all the time. So it was really wonderful. So there, and I went to, at the same time doing my research for this documentary, I went to the Omega Center in New York State, where they have a lot of different people come to do workshops on being on energy or shamanism, things like that. And every time I go to a workshop, I would serendipitously be partnered with someone, and the person was there because they were trying to recover from suffering the loss of a loved one. And I would tell the person, I can contact your loved one, but don't tell anybody I can do it. And so I would do it, and then, of course, I would bring comfort, to people. And so these people for whom I was doing this kept telling me, you have to let other people know you can do this. It brings such comfort. You've got to do this. You've got to do this. So I thought, all right. And so I gradually let people know about this. And the way the healing part came in was one day I was driving to my office to meet a client. And as I was driving there, all of a sudden Spirit said, you're going to heal her. I was like, what? I'm going to what? And Spirit said, don't worry, we'll tell you what to do. Just listen. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. So I was sitting facing my client, and she was telling me about how she was unhappy about some things in her life. And she started to cry, and she was very emotionally telling me about things that were upsetting her in her life. And all of a sudden, I saw what looked like this monster coming out of her chest. It was really quite interesting to see, to just coming out. And then Spirit said, grab it and throw it out the window. So I leaned forward and just grabbed that and threw it out the window. And my client stopped crying and looked at me and said, how did you know I had degenerating heart disease? Well, I didn't know. But she apparently had been monitored by a doctor monthly because her condition was getting worse and worse. And after that session, her condition began to improve. And so she wasn't monitored every month anymore, but there was every couple of months and every 6 months and then every year. And it was quite amazing. And so finally I realized, I guess I'm supposed to be an energy healer and a medium. But it took me a while to get there. And, of course, I had to experience the fibroids and hemorrhaging, which was definitely not fun. But it certainly woke me up and got me on the path I'm supposed to be on. And I'm very glad I'm on this path. I love it. I really do. I love my clients. I love having spirits around me, being able to see them, talk to them, family members of mine who have passed. It's so beautiful. I just really am so very, very grateful.
It's an amazing thing, right? Once you embrace it, like life will never be the same. That's what we try to convey to people every week when we're doing this show is everyone has these abilities. It's so important that we just take the time to tune in, to slow down, and to pay attention because so much beauty can come from that. And it's an amazing story. I love your story. I love how things have unfolded. And I think your story alone is proof for people that, it doesn't necessarily have to be at our own time or on our own, with a lot of times we feel we can control this and harness it. And a lot of times it just has to unfold how it unfolds, and that may be a little bit later in life or, when we're really in that momentum and we're really being called. I think we've experienced all of our life experiences and that can kind of make us who we are and who we develop into as a medium. And it's just so important for people to stay open to that and tune into that.
Right. I think it's very much like learning a foreign language and going to a foreign country. If you go to a foreign country where you don't know the language, you can't read the signs, you can kind of figure out what's going on and you kind of benefit from being there. But if you learn the language, then all of a sudden it changes everything. It absolutely changes everything. And, there are two other interesting things that kind of on my path to becoming a medium and energy healer. When I had 3 children at the time in Paris, and I was doing yoga, Shivananda yoga, and of course the meditation and everything. And I would leave my body, and the people around were really excited that I could do that, and really thought, wow, that's wonderful, and you need to, pursue that and everything. And at one point I said, well, and so I want my children. And so I prayed. I really did. I prayed so that I could be grounded because I wanted to take care of my children. And so I did, and I was grounded, and then I went to a luncheon in Manhattan, and with a group of women, and there was a new woman there, and I ended up talking to her. And I mean, I've had several experiences in my life besides the driving off the cliff where I could have died. And for some reason I started telling her about that. I don't know why. And she said, that doesn't come for free, and kind of telling me you have to give back. And so now I understand, and I love it. It is so wonderful. I kind of almost wish that I had opened up like this earlier than wait so long, So it's really a wonderful, wonderful thing. Absolutely wonderful, wonderful. And if what I love with my clients is when I teach them how to identify when they're going to, when they have spirits that are talking to them. There's, for example, I have a client whose husband died, and it was just the two of them, and they were very much in love and lived for each other. So for her, this was just devastating. And in Manhattan, they had a bar that they would go to, and they'd meet friends there. And so they decided, the owner of the bar decided to put a plaque for this woman's husband. And they had, when they put up the plaque, they had a little round table with their friends. And I was contacting her husband, and I said, well, he really wants you to do this. He loves this idea. And he's going to let you know he's there. And she said, okay. And so she was very excited about it, came to see me after that. And I said, well, how did it go? How did he appear? And she said, oh, he didn't. And I said, what? Oh, no. No blinking lights or anything. No, nothing happened. In fact, it was really kind of annoying because there were 7 of us around the table, and this waitress came and just brought a drink and put it that didn't belong to anybody, and put it in the middle of the table and left it there, didn't take it away when we said it wasn't ours. And I said, bingo, you know who that 8th glass was for? It was for your husband. And she was like, oh, of course. That was his way of letting us know that he was there. So when we find out
that's so cool.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah, and it's amazing when spirit, it's so interactive. It could be so interactive, and that's what people need to understand is they want to connect to us as much as we want to connect to them. We just have to be present and look for the signs. I think that's half the battle is being present in the moment and paying attention, and it could be so significant. And that's the interesting thing too. I think what we'll find is even in a reading, I don't know if you get this in readings or not, you'll be bringing through great pieces of information or a name. I don't know. Oh, wait a second. That's my grandpa, and then all of a sudden, people get psychic amnesia. So it's important. It's important when we get that confirmation and that validation that they are around us, and it's so important, and that loving guidance that we can get from them can be so crucial in moving forward.
Yeah, this same woman has, the one whose husband passed. She's gotten really, really good at identifying when he's giving her messages, and so he asked her to get a heart balloon. So they have two. She has 2 cats, and the cats like to play with the string of this red heart balloon. And when it deflates, she usually gets another one. Well, it was going to be her wedding anniversary, which is a very hard time for her. And the balloon, well, she just didn't get around to getting another one. She didn't feel like getting one, and it was deflated, and it was on the floor. And so the morning of her wedding anniversary, when she was feeling particularly sad, she got up, and there was this balloon, deflated balloon, that had somehow managed to get stuck to the wall above the photograph of their wedding day.
Oh, how cool is that? That is awesome.
Yeah, and spirits can do that. They can move things around, and it's really wonderful to be able to recognize that, because some people would just look and think, not even notice it. They're like, oh, boy. And here she's, she has the knowledge to be able to identify these signs. That's from him. So that's really, really incredible.
Alexandra, Alexandra, I wanted to ask you, it's Mary. I wanted to ask you, would you be willing to have us, because we have callers holding, would you be willing to have me bring on a caller and you speak to someone?
Sure.
Okay. All right. So because we have people
what am I supposed to do with the person?
Well,
are they
whatever
going to ask you questions? Or?
Whatever whatever spirit guides you to do. It's
Okay.
A lot of times we can have the person. They can present a question, or if you want to just open your connection to their energy field and see what you can bring through.
Okay.
It's up to you if you whichever you feel most comfortable with.
We just have so many people that have called in tonight, and I know it's because of you that they're very intrigued by you, and you're such an amazing storyteller, and it's very compelling to hear this directly from you. So I just thought, hey, what the heck? Let me see if she's would be willing.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to grab the very first person. I don't know them. I haven't screened them. We'll see what they say, and here we are. We're going to bring them on.
Okay.
Hi, this is Mary, Michael, and Alexandra. How are you? Hello? 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 Okay, so no one's...
They're calling from another dimension. We have to tune in.
I guess, yeah.
So we're going to put them back, and we're going to grab someone else because there's so many holding.
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
Hello?
Here's someone else. Hello. Hi.
Hello?
How are you? Hello.
Hi, Alexandra. I'm good.
Hi.
How are you? I was enjoying your story.
Oh, good.
Yes, yes.
How can I help you? Do you have a question for me?
I don't have a question per se. I would just like for you to pick up what spirit would like for me to know.
Okay. Sure. I always say a little prayer, so I'm going to say a little prayer in my head for you.
Okay.
What's your first name?
Maddie.
Maddie. Hi.
Hi. Mhm.
It seems like there's going to be some sort of a party. You have a friend. Some kind of event is going to be happening. That it's a gathering that's coming up. I don't think you know about it yet. Do you know? It's going to be. It's not too small. It seems like quite a good number of people will be there.
Mhm.
It seems like it's going to be that you're going to enjoy this quite a bit.
Oh, great! That's always good to know. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can see you there with the people and talking, and it's like an event where you see some people who you haven't seen for a while, so it's kind of fun. I think you'll be happy about it. About the event.
Oh, cool.
So that sounds pretty good.
Yeah, it does. Always nice to have somewhere to go.
Where are you calling us from?
Georgia, Atlanta.
Oh, Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta's a great place. Very nice place.
It's a nice city. Yeah.
Well, you might be doing a little party and then down to Atlanta. So you gotta.
Well,
gotta get some outfits picked out. Know what you want. You ready to go. Manifest that. You got some good stuff coming.
All right, I like that. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for calling, Maddie. We appreciate it. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. I'm gonna
tune in
because I
with
don't know
Alexandra
about it,
tonight.
so
we really appreciate that.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna. be a surprise. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let us know what happens, what comes up, what the party is.
Okay, so what's so interesting is right away I didn't want to step on any toes, Alexandra. I got twin, like it was either a twin or she's a twin or somebody's a twin. I don't know what. And I heard celebration. So you're right about that. Not that you don't already know that. You're right, but okay. So can we try one more? Because we have like a couple minutes left in the show. Let's try another one.
Sure.
This is kind of fun.
Yeah.
Nothing like putting you on the spot, Alexandra.
Hi, who's calling?
No problem.
Hello? Hello? Yeah, we're putting Alexandra on the spot right now, aren't we?
No, it's all right. No problem.
You're a good sport. We appreciate you.
Hi, who's calling?
Hello.
Hello, who's calling? Hi, who's this?
Oh, hi. This is Karen from New York. Thank you. I've been enjoying the show.
You're
Thank
on
you
with
so much.
Alexandre LeClere, author of Healing Wisdom from the Afterlife and How to Communicate with the Spirit World, and Mary and Michael. Hello.
Yes. Hello.
So hi, Karen.
Thanks for calling in. What question do you have for us, for Alexandra? We have our guest medium tonight. She's giving out some great advice. You are the lucky caller, and would you present a question for us? And Alexandra will give you her insight into that.
Okay. Well, I'd like to know what Spirit has for me, what's coming for you, and particularly, if possible, about my upcoming apartment inspection. What will that mean afterwards? Or about my volatile relationship with my sister. Unless there's something more pressing that Spirit needs me to know. I will text you. Thank you.
So, what I'm getting is that there's some kind of your sister's a little jealous of you. Is that right?
Could be.
Because that's what I'm picking up. That she loves you very, very much, but there's a little bit of competition there or something.
Not sure why. I mean, I'm in such a big mess. I have so many problems, and I don't feel she really understands or gets it. And she has, I feel attitudes coming from her, and she's not always nice. And if I say something, then she explodes, and I'm horrible, and she can't talk to me, and, it goes from there, and she'll hang up or whatever, and I try to just say, no, you can't treat me like that, and, it's not her. She's never wrong, ever, but I feel it is her.
I think she just has this feeling like somehow life has been better for you, or somehow, or that you're generally more appreciated than she is, or something, but she does love you, and it's just based on jealousy, and so the best thing to do with her is to show her that you care for her, and that she's going to respond to that, because she feels very put upon, kind of, but she just feels like somehow things end up being harder for her, even though it might not seem that way to you at all. But that's her take on it. So, and so I think, just kind of it's like something that grew up throughout childhood.
Oh, maybe that's it. That would make more sense rather than current. See what she'd be jealous of now, but yeah.
Well, it's just something that sort of developed where, I don't know, it's almost like you you had the nicer personality, or people liked you more or something, or you're prettier or something like whatever it is, but she just developed this jealousy that has, it's not your fault or anything like that. Sometimes people are just that way. But if you show her compassion, that
I think I have. No. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you're a kind person, and she just feels exasperated because she always What's one really fun thing that the two of you used to do?
I don't know. I can't think.
Or what's one nice thing that that she likes or something? Where the two of you had fun.
Well, I haven't seen her in a very long time, and I'm not welcome at her apartment, and she won't come here, so I don't even know anymore. Do you see her husband being a part and influencing her in this way?
Well, her husband just backs her up in whatever direction she goes in. So I don't see him as the person at fault. It's just like she'll complain to him about things and he'll say okay, but I don't really see him as not liking you. It's just this is just old stuff. And I would say that part of this also is past life stuff between the two of you. And that's what happens, is that we're in a past life, we have issues with somebody, and the issues don't really get resolved, and so they show up again in the next life. And so that I bet you the two of you in a past life tangled about something. And so you're here in this life to try to sort it out. And I think if you try to find a time when the two of you were close, and something that was, that would remind you of that time, maybe some music or something like that, and using that, you can remind her of that positive bond that you used to have. So it, and
the last time I felt it with her, I just want to say the last time I felt it with her was when I visited her in 2007, and then she had to move to a different place and blah, blah, blah. And then through the years she changed, and I felt it was her husband pulling her away because he didn't like that we were so close, and he wants to have complete control over her. And I see the light about him, and he didn't want her to, take me seriously about anything, so he had to pull her away and discredit me in her eyes. That's the way I see it, because over the years I see her change, and she became more and more distant, and almost like we haven't been related at times. There are times it is there, but then times she treats me like, who are you? You're just an acquaintance. You're so weird, I don't get you. Or there's like, I often feel a big disconnect with her, And I used to not feel that, at least for a point up until that time in 2007. So I don't understand what happened, really, other than him.
Well, I do think it's possible for the two of you to get closer again.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's true that her husband likes to have control over her, but I don't think he just specifically doesn't like you, you know. So I don't think that's coming from that area. I think she feels that she has been needy and that maybe you weren't there for her. So I think that might be part of it too. But I think, you know, if you reach out with something that the two of you have experienced, you know, something from when you were younger, and reach out to her with that, you know, and I think that would soften her up, you know, even if it's like you would mail her, I don't know, photographs from when you were younger or something like that. You know, the little note, well, do you remember when we did this or that? You know, and just, I miss you. And that'll soften her up. So,
thank you so much for calling, Karen. We're going to have to, you know, move on because I feel like we've really kind of put her on the spot, Alexandra, and I'm so grateful that you've been listening tonight and you held on. And you know, myself, I sense that Alexandra, just what I'm experiencing tonight from her is that she's just so subtle but very powerful in her wisdom, and she is a very special being. I'm so grateful that you called, and Michael and I are very thankful, and you have a good evening, and I hope that, you know, this phone call was helpful to you.
Well, it's very enlightening. Thank you, and expansive, and I appreciate it, and it's been a pleasure to meet you all, so thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thanks for calling in, Karen. We appreciate you.
We wish you well with your sister.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Bye.
Bless you.
Bless
Bye.
You. Bye-bye. Alexandra, you're just astonishing tonight. I'm so taken just from the get-go, the stories, and is there a message you'd like to share with everyone, and also before you go, and also contact information and, you know, some kind of way for people to reach out to you or get some kind of readings from you, because I believe that you have quite a few people just that have been holding that want to reach out to you outside of this radio show.
Yeah, well, I have a website, www.alexandraleclere.com, and it's my last name. It's spelled more like LeClere, LeClere, all E's, LE. So it's Alexandra LeClere .com, and that's, you can reach me through my website, or you can write to me at Alexandra LeClere, LeClere @AOL.com, and I look forward from hearing from everyone. Also, you can get my book, Healing Wisdom from the Afterlife, through Amazon, or, you know, wherever you get your books. And then I have another book, Seeing the Dead, Talking with Spirits, and that also is available through Amazon or other places where you can get books, or you can get it on my website. So one more time, my website is Alexandra, Alexandra, LeClere, LeClere.com.
And what kind of sessions do you offer, Alexandra? I know that you are you do the past lives, or what would be something that you would be suggesting for a new timer, someone that came aboard, they contact you, what kind of, and they said, oh, I need some help. What would a session be for you?
Well, I do sessions in person or via Zoom or FaceTime or basically, it really, if on my website, you can see what sessions are like. And it all depends on what the person wants to do. I mean, sometimes people want to contact a loved one who passed. Sometimes people have something they're trying to do and they just can't get it done, and they don't know what's blocking them. And so I use a technique called journey work to help people to get beyond that invisible fence that's holding them back. Very often something that's happened to us as when we're younger or in a past life comes into our life, our current life, and stops us from achieving the goals that we're interested in achieving. So I do that a lot. Then there are people who are sick, have some sort of illness, and I believe that we experience dis-ease that turns into disease. And so if we can get to the origin of the then we can get rid of the disease. So I help people to get to that origin and then to take it away. You know, the power of it. An example of that. Do I have time to talk about an example of that?
You have a few more minutes. You tell us, because I'm fascinated with this, and our listeners are here to hear from you.
Good. So, for example, there's a client of mine who was studying to be a nurse, and she was doing really well. And then at one point, she dropped her studies completely, couldn't go on, couldn't figure out what it was. She just could not go back to school, absolutely could not. And so she came to see me, and I did some journey work with her, and it took her back to when she was about 5 years old, and she had her grandmother babysitting her while her mother worked. And she had an older sister who was about 4 years older than her, 5 years older than her. And her older sister would go to a nearby quarry where the kids would go and play. And she wasn't allowed to go herself. And one day, she went anyway. And when she came back, her grandmother really let her have it and really told her she'd never amount to anything, she's horrible, and, you know, really gave it to her and destroyed her self-esteem. So what happened was that in her nursing school, she had a professor who reminded her of her grandmother, and that reduced her into this bad, incompetent child, where she completely lost her self-confidence to be able to finish her studies. Well, we cleared away the damage of that, and then she was able to finish her studies, and she got a degree and became a nurse, and was very happy. But we all have these invisible senses that are created by life events, and it's really important to get rid of them. There's also, people when they're when something happens, when they get sick, it's the same sort of thing. Sometimes it's something from an event that happened earlier that might have been traumatic, and that the person forgot about. But the event of the sting of the event continued. There's a woman who came to see me. She's an artist, and when she was studying in art school, she couldn't continue with it, and she couldn't really afford to go. But she had a benefactor who was going to pay for her tuition and everything, but she wasn't going to go anyway. And she couldn't figure out what was wrong with herself that she didn't want to go. And in that case, with the journey work, we went back to a time when she was friends with a couple of twins. And she was especially friends with one of the twins. And at one point, the other twin got very jealous. And so she refused to have and let her sister have anything to do with my client. And so the two twins were goody girls and everything. And so my client decided to be a bad girl. And so she just she purposely didn't do study and barely finished high school and didn't study beyond that. And so now when she was older and had this opportunity from a benefactor to go to art school because she was very talented, she couldn't do it because she felt she didn't deserve it. Well, we cleaned that up, and she was able to go to art school and be very successful and have a career in art. So there are a lot of different things that I can do with people and help them to open up to their own gifts. I do a virtual mediumship group once a month. It's on the second Tuesday of the month. If you're interested in participating, let me know. And so we talk about how to communicate with spirits, and we usually contact some spirits then too. So that's a lot of fun. We have a good time. It's a happy time. I also do a mediumship group in person in New Rochelle, New York. And there also we have a very good time.
That's where I met you, because I heard about through Psychic Joan of Greenwich, Connecticut, and she said, come to the pipe smoking event. Alexandre will be there. And it was amazing. You also have a sweat lodge, and you do events there. And I just wanted to share that we do have on this post, and I have been posting it everywhere, your website. So I know you spelled it out and you said it, but if anyone wants to find out more information about Alexandra, you can find it on her website. It's a wonderful website. And you also talk about this clear link energy work, which I find everything you do to be very fascinating. You've delved really deeply into this world, the mediumship and the psychic and the energy work, and now you're a second time. Is it second time author? Is this your second book?
Yes.
And I'm just so utterly respectful of you and how you've embraced your work, and I'm so appreciative of you that you joined us here on Two Psychics. I'm sorry for the mess initially. It's just bizarre how that went off.
Yeah.
And you held on, and
like
I
that.
appreciate it. And I know our listeners appreciate you too. And I hope you'll come back another time, or maybe we'll do an event together. We'll get Michael up from the Jersey Shore up to New York, and we'll all do something together. Or
that sounds great. Oh, and I'd love to come back again to talk with you too.
Perfect. Everyone
yeah,
enjoyed
Alexandra,
it.
thank you so much for sharing your story with us. Such a great story on your journey, your personal journey to being a medium. So, and I think it's good for people to hear that, and people to understand. It's a process. It's a process that unfolds, and it
is.
It could be intense, but probably the most beautiful thing that anyone could do.
And I think that the biggest deterrent for people is fear. People are afraid, and they shouldn't be. They really shouldn't be. You really, and that's why going to something like my mediumship group, or doing it virtually, that in a group it's less it just seems more positive and everything. It's really a nice thing. It's really good. And then in my books I describe my path, and also how I started doing sweat lodges, which is really cool too. I do lead one once a month in New Rochelle, and everybody is welcome to join. So it's at the New Dawn Foundation. So I do hope that people will contact me, Alexandra,
I'm
LeClere.
Sure they will. Yes, Alexandra LeClere.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being a part of Two Psychics. This was fantastic.
Who wants
really appreciate
to reach out
it.
to Alexandra, you can find through us. You either contact Michael or I on our social media, or you look at this site, our Blog Talk Radio. From this evening, this episode 18, you can find Alexandra's information, and she's been very gracious and kind, and I appreciate you taking on, spur of the moment, some of our listeners, and you're a wonderful human being. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. It's such a wonderful opportunity to be here on your program, and I think spreading the word like this is fantastic. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much. We have 1 minute left, and we will be in touch. And you have a good evening. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alexandra. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Bye-bye.
Oh, well, I wanted to before we get off, I just wanted to remind everyone what we have upcoming. And I wanted to remind everyone, if you want to reach out to Michael Edley, it's michaeledley.com, his website. Mine is maryamyofficial.com. And we have upcoming next week, we have June 6th, we have Athena in Truth, the channeler, and June 13th, we have Pet Psychic. And, follow us on our Facebook page, Two Psychics Radio. Anything you want to wrap up with, Michael?
No, that's everything. MichaelEdley.com. Eye of the Spirits with Michael Edley. If you're on Facebook, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate each and every one of you. We appreciate Alexandra for being on and bringing through some great messages and some insight. So, yeah, we are looking forward to being back with all of you next week. And I think that's a wrap, Mary Amy. What do you think?
Yes, it is. Everyone have a wonderful week. Enjoy the summer weather, and pay attention to your dreams and write them down tomorrow morning. Be well.
Now I just have to start banging my microphone on the ground and seeing if it works.
Yeah. You sounded great tonight anyway. Okay, bye-bye. It's closing off.
Bye-bye.
With a VSP individual vision plan, you're the one pulling the strings. Because taking care of your eye health after retirement comes with a lot of decisions. that only you should make, like choosing how to save on the lens enhancements you need, the right name brand frames for your style, and choosing your eye doctor from the nation's largest independent doctor network. Even how you enroll is up to you. Make the best decisions for your vision at the eye doctor's office, retail locations, and online with VSP Individual Vision Plans.